Hey YouTube, this is Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com, and today's video is about my January empties. My goal for 2020 is to reduce the overall number of skincare and makeup items that I own. I was very inspired by a channel by Hannah Louise Boston. If you have never watched her, check her out. She started a few years ago with doing a no-buy year, then she had a beauty budget year, and then this year she's doing her year of less stuff. And I think it's a great idea. I've already been thinking about reducing the amount of things that I have. I've posted a lot on my Instagram at KBeautyHobbit about how I'm focusing on using up my sheet masks. I'm not buying any new ones until I work through the ones that I have. But I never thought about actually counting the amounts that I use up and versus the ones that I bring in. Now, Hannah did a full inventory of hers. She counted everything she owned, and her project extends beyond skincare and makeup. I'm doing mine a little bit differently. I didn't count the things that I have currently. I just don't have the time or the desire to be honest. But what I'm keeping track of is the things that I use up or give away or otherwise that leave my collection versus the things that I bring in via purchasing or gifts, or sometimes I get PR boxes and PR gifts, things like that. So I am focusing on looking at everything that I bring in versus everything that goes out. And my goal is to have more things out than things in overall for the year 2020. I think it is very easy to overbuy, and especially when you're somebody like me who has a blog or YouTube channel. I am a pretty small fry when it comes to influencers and such, but I still get certain things sometimes for free, or I get brand gifts, and I always love them. But I think it's easy to get overwhelmed and for things to grow out of control, and I never want to be wasteful. I don't want to have so many things that I can't enjoy them, or so many things that they go bad. So I am just really focusing on reducing my spending and my just consumption of things, and focusing on the items that truly bring me joy, are truly valuable, things that are interesting to review and talk about. Overall, in January, I have used up or parted with 37 items. That includes full-size skincare, full-size makeup, but also sheet masks. And I know that using up a sheet mask and counting it as of one item leaving my collection is kind of an easy win. And I honestly needed some easy wins starting this project. But also I think it's okay to count that because sheet masks do take up a lot of space. They can go bad just like anything else. And I tend to overbuy sheet masks quite a bit. I think it's an easy item to snatch. It is something that goes on sale quite often or specials. A lot of the times I find them at TJ Maxx, and I'm very tempted to get those. So I think it's okay to count one sheet mask as one item leaving, just like I count one face wash or one serum or something like that, more of a full-size product leaving my collection. As the year advances, I'm sure I'll have fewer and fewer of those quick wins because I am slowly moving more toward wash-off masks. I think it's a better value for your money occasionally, depending on the mask, but it's also less wasteful and less packaging. I'm not saying I'm giving up sheet masks completely, but I do want to be more thoughtful and more intentional with the types of sheet masks that I buy. My goal for January was not to buy any new beauty or skincare or makeup products, and I've succeeded. I haven't purchased anything. I did have 12 items come into my collection, so 37 out and 12 in, and those were either things that I ordered back in December that just now arrived in January, or I also had a couple PR things come in and I counted those as well. Let's get into all the empties. I have so many, as you might be able to tell by the number of things that left my collection. I'm not going to be reviewing each individual sheet mask. That just takes too long. I do have reviews for the sheet mask on my Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, and then I have reviews for some other things on my blog, KBeautyHobbit.com. I will put links in the description box for all the products I'm talking about, where you can purchase them, and also if I have a full review on my blog, I will put a link for that. The first item is technically not a January empty. I finished this a few months ago and tucked it under the sink in our master bathroom. and I don't use that bathroom as much as I use our guest bathroom, so I kind of tucked it under there and forgot about it. And then I was cleaning this month and found it, and I thought it's worth mentioning. These are Yadah Cactus toner pads. The packaging changed since then. It looks different now, but as far as I can tell, the ingredients are the same. It's one of the things that just drives me nuts about K-Beauty is how often brands change packaging without really changing their formulas. And I talked about more things that drive me nuts about K-Beauty in a dedicated rant video. I will put a link in the description box if you want to hear all the other points. This was a TJ Maxx find. I actually showed how I use these in my very first video, I think on the morning routine, and that video is cringeworthy. It has bad lighting. It was all done in one shot, so no editing. And I had to have a couple glasses of wine before I filmed it because I was so intimidated. But I'm glad I got it out because that is what started this whole channel. So these pads are a toner pad. They can be used morning or night. I mostly use toner pads in the mornings because I don't usually wash my face in the mornings. I don't feel like I need to, but I like to use a toner pad to wipe off any potentially remaining nighttime skincare, and then I move on to the rest of my morning routine. And these were really good. I do have a bottle of this toner, so the same thing that these pads were soaked in. I have that still to use, but I like these. They were gentle, and I think it's kind of confusing that it says moisturizing, but then it also says exfoliating and soothing, and it's, to me, moisturizing and exfoliating don't really go together. But it's not exfoliating in a sense that some of the peeling pads are. This is more just very gentle, mild, okay for everyday use, okay to use year round. I like those, and I like their lid. It's a flip top lid, which I like a lot more than screw off lids. I just think it's faster and more convenient to use. So I would repurchase these. These are good. I really like those, especially for the price that I paid for them at TJ Maxx. Moving on to things I actually finished in January. I didn't start all of these in January, but I finished them all in January. These are a cult favorite. I think these make it to the beauty gurus like favorite, best of, year in review kind of lists all the time. These are Neogen peeling pads, and these are specifically exfoliating pads. They are not like the Yadah ones. They are not toner pads. They are to be used once or twice a week. The interesting thing about these is you have to rinse off your face after using these. So they're used after cleansing, before all the other steps, and you do have to rinse your face. One side of these was gauze, kind of a more intense side, and the other side was embossed, softer side, so I would use the gauze side first, and then the softer embossed side. These are very generously sized. They would take up the whole diameter of this jar, so these are very big. I know some people cut them in half. I didn't do that. These lasted me a long time. May or may not be because I forgot I had them for a little bit, which is why I am doing what I'm doing with the tracking ins and outs, because I just accumulate too many things otherwise. And this is the green tea kind. There's also a lemon and a wine kind of these. I would like to try the wine ones eventually. I think those get raved about a lot. The green tea I really enjoyed. It was nice, it was gentle, it was effective, but didn't give me any kind of allergic reactions or any sort of side effects. I didn't see any like flaking skin or anything. It just made my face very soft. I think it's one of those products that almost everybody has tried and is talking about. And if you're looking for a good peeling pad, if you've never used peeling pads before and you want a sure win, then I think these are definitely worth a try. More pads. Had so many pads. This one is by Aprilskin, and it's their Real Calendula line. I've talked about this line on my channel before and on my blog, and it's made with calendula flowers, which are soothing and very calming to irritated skin. Like when I was a kid, my mom used to make calendula almost like a tea, not to drink but to use topically. She would steep calendula flowers in hot water and then use the liquid that it produced to kind of wipe off on irritated and red skin. So it's very well known in Russia, but it's not so well known here, I don't think, in the United States. At least I haven't heard too many people talk about it. These were very gentle. These are not peeling pads, these are toner pads, although again they say peeling pad, but they're not. They're more like the Yadah pad versus like the Neogen pad. Really wish K-Beauty would get their naming conventions straight and brands wouldn't be so creative with how they name things, because I think it just gets really confusing. So these were super mild and okay to use twice a day, morning and night. Again, just like with Yadah ones, I use these more in the morning just because that's what works for me. I have so many toners that come in bottles that I use in the evenings, but these type of things I use more in the mornings. And they were really good. A nice, potentially gimmicky thing about them, but it still made me giggle, is it had actual calendula petals inside of there, so you really feel like you're getting the real flowers on you. I don't know if that specifically provides any tangible benefits, but it was kind of a neat thing and unique. I have not seen that before, so these I would recommend. I think they were good. I think these were 60 in here. It doesn't say, but the typical amount of pads for toner pads per jar is 60, and I think that's what was here. Size wise they were smaller than Yadah, but still very usable. Like one pad was definitely enough for my whole face and neck. I feel like I have so many jars this month, but we're done with the pads, but still not done with the jars. So this one is the Aromatica cleansing, orange cleansing sherbet, I don't know. I always struggle with pronunciation of this, but it was a cleansing balm. I've talked about this on my channel before. And cleansing balm is an alternative to a cleansing oil. It's a first step cleanser that breaks up any oil-soluble debris, makeup. This was great to use even around the eyes, very non-irritating. Aromatica is quickly becoming one of my favorite brands, although not every product of theirs is a win for me, but most of them are. They use non-toxic, clean, organic ingredients, and the pricing is fairly affordable, for especially for organic products. This was a very big tub and came with a little spatula, if I can get that out, like this, so that you don't have to dip your fingers into the jar. It lasted me quite a long time. One of the things I started doing, and I've done this in the past a little bit, but not to such a big extent. Right now I have two cleansing oil products. I had this one and then I have a Purito cleansing oil, and instead of going back and forth between them all the time, what I started doing is using this one every day until it ran out, just to try and get that reduction going, get something finished and out of my collection. And just for the, it's almost like Project Pan with skincare. If you don't know what Project Pan is, I have a playlist for my Project Pan that I'm doing with makeup. But this was very good. It smelled like bitter orange, which I really like. And the scent ingredients in here are all natural, but I really enjoyed that. It didn't smell like artificial orange. It smelled like a real bitter orange, but wasn't very robust scent, very mild. And it definitely took off all my makeup and all the SPF very well without irritation. It lasted me a long time because you only need a little bit. So I would recommend this. If you need a good cleansing balm, this one is quite good. The confusing part is it says it's for dry to combination skin. I have combination skin with kind of oily parts, but I think this would actually work for all skin types. I'm not sure why it says dry to combination skin. I think if you have oily skin, this would be just fine, especially since any cleansing balm or cleansing oil, the next step would be to use a foaming cleanser, so you would wash off whatever is left over on your skin. So I'm not sure why they categorize this by skin type. Last jar, but not the last empty, is the Petitfee Agave Cooling Patches. I've talked about these before as well, and these were hydrogel patches. Most people use them under the eyes, but I use them under the eyes, on my forehead, and on my nasolabial folds. On my forehead, I actually have a couple spots of concern. I have a couple lines here that are trying to settle in. I don't really have many concerns on my under eye area or the nasolabial folds, but prevention is always better than trying to reverse something. Plus, these are only good for 60 days after opening. I think there were 60 in here, 60 pairs, so enough for 30 uses. Yes, 60 individual ones, 30 pairs, so enough for 30 uses under the eyes, and they're good for 60 days after opening. I may have kept them a little bit longer, I'm not sure. I keep these things in the fridge and I've never had anything go bad as far as I can tell. But if you're using things like this and you're struggling to use them up before they expire, then try putting them on other areas of your face, not just under the eyes, just any other parts that need to be plumped up. These were very good. I've posted quite a few pictures of me wearing them on my Instagram just because they're cool looking, blue. And supposedly they have sapphire dust in them. I'm not sure that that does anything other than provide aesthetics and some marketing things, but as far as plumping things like my forehead lines and reducing the puffiness of the eyes and under eye area, these really work well. And another pro tip, if you spend the evening crying and you wake up in the morning with puffy eyes, usually the puffiness is not just underneath, it's also on top. And you can absolutely put these on your top lids. Just close your eyes and apply these and just wait a few minutes or however long you can stand laying there with your eyes closed, and these do take the puffiness off. Next, I have a fun product, totally new to me, didn't even know this existed. It was a gift from a store called 637 Beauty, and it is called Skinfull Spot Premium. It comes in this box and it looks like a syringe. I got 2 of these. I've used up one, and I already started the second one. So I'll be doing a review on these soon. It's possible that by the time this video airs, I would have already had the review, and in that case, I'll put a link in the description box. But this is an ampule basically with Volufiline or Volufiline, I'm not sure how you'd pronounce that, but it's an ingredient developed in France, and it's basically a non-invasive filler. So these are advertised as to be used around the eye area or anywhere that you need some plumping, like again nasolabial folds or the between the eyebrow, the lines that are called the 11s. In my case, I'm using them on the forehead, and I don't know if you can see that, but it comes with these little tick marks, and you're supposed to use a hole up to the tick mark each time, and that is supposed to be enough for 2 eyes. So this one syringe is supposed to have 3 uses pretty much. For my forehead, the very first time I used this, I followed the directions, I squeezed out the whole 1/3 of it, and it was a lot. I actually only need half of that just for the forehead, so it's enough for 6 uses for me. It is supposed to be used after cleansing, so I would put that on my forehead, let it absorb, sink in, whatever, and then sometimes I'd put cream over it and sometimes not, and then I would do the rest of my skincare routine on my face, on the rest of my face as normal. But this is pretty emollient, I would say, so I don't even feel like I need necessarily a cream after it. It is white and milky but quite thick in texture. Like putting it on my palm, I could turn my palm upside down and this wouldn't slide off, so it's very thick, and I haven't seen like a huge amount of results yet, which is probably normal. Like it takes time for things to work, but what I did notice big time is when I wash my face, I usually massage it with like a cleansing oil, and I can feel this line up here. Like I can find it usually with my fingers, and I know where it is. And some days it feels very deep, especially if my skin is dehydrated or if I'm very stressed. But after using this, just this first tube, that line is significantly less deep. I don't know if visually it's a huge effect, but touching it, I can definitely feel that it has gotten less deep, which is a great thing because the deeper lines are, the more likely they're not going to be plumped by anything. So I think it's an interesting product. You can check out the 637 Beauty store. They sell these individually, or you can buy a 5-pack, which I think you get a little bit of a better price. Like I said, they gave these to me as a gift just to try, so this is not a sponsored review. They're not paying me to say anything good about them, and I'm undecided as to how amazing these are yet, but I do think they're working. And honestly, I think it's probably better to have gradual results that maybe are not like mind-blowing, because I feel like when people get mind-blowing results after a single use of something, I feel like that's not necessarily a very authentic review. But I have nothing bad to say. I think they're good, and I ran their ingredients through CosDNA, and there's nothing toxic that I could see, so these shouldn't be harmful. There's nothing controversial in them as far as the ingredients. So I am excited to see how the second one performs and what kind of results I see after using 2 of these. I am using my second one currently. Next, I have 2 products by Huangjisoo. It is one of my favorite brands. I've talked about them on this channel before. Again, not a sponsored review. Coincidentally though, I did get these specific products for free as a brand gift, but I have had full-size versions of them in the past. So this one is the Huangjisoo Pure Perfect Cleansing Oil. It is my holy grail cleansing oil. I love it. I've written about the full size before, and I am using the second one of this size. Currently, I received 2 of them. One came in Sophie Beauty Box, and another one came as a brand gift from Huangjisoo for the holidays. It is a wonderful cleansing oil with EWG green ingredients. It is made, the entire brand is made by a doctor for people with sensitive skin. The interesting thing I noticed is when I had the big sized bottle, it had more of a pronounced scent, which I love the scent. It's citrusy. It's not very robust, but these ones in the trial sizes, I don't find that scent as detectable. It could be because I've been super sick since before Christmas, and you can probably still hear it. My whole family, the children, everybody, we just keep cycling through these symptoms. Like, we'll get better and then worse again and better and worse again. And my mom the same way. So that could be part of it. But I still, as far as effectiveness and how pleasant this is to use and how well it works, I really, really love it. And when I first started getting into Huangjisoo products, they were hard to find. Like on eBay, you'd have maybe one listing or not at all. But now they're much easier to purchase. So if that's something that interests you, you can actually get your hands on it now. And the second product, still from that same brand gift, is the Huangjisoo Pure Daily Foaming Cleanser. This is the moisturizing kind, and it's their travel size. I have had their... I think it was under anti-dust or anti-pollution kind of this in a full size, and that was really wonderful. Surprisingly, this looks like a very small bottle. This lasted me for a very long time. I started using it in December and finally finished it in January, and I didn't use it every single day, but I still used it quite often, and every time I kept thinking this will be the last time, and nope, it just kept lasting. So if you want to try something, I think they sell a set of these in all of the different variations that they come in. I like this one, the moisturizing one. I think cleansers can't really be moisturizing because they're on our skin for such a short amount of time, but what I look for is that they're not drying. So if my skin is still left feeling clean but not stripped, not squeaky clean, not dry, then that's a win. So this does that. It's very gentle, and the nice thing is it comes out of the dispenser already as foam, so you don't have to foam it yourself. Next thing that I finally finished, and this was living in our master bathroom, which again I don't use as often, and the reason for that is that's the one that's connected to our bedroom, and that's where the baby goes to bed in the evening. So I use the guest bathroom for all my evening bathing and skincare needs. This one is the Etude House Jung Emulsion. It is such a highly spoken about, such a highly reviewed item for people with sensitive skin. It is made for acne-prone skin. It has Centella asiatica extract in it. It's just a nice lotion. Emulsion is another word for lotion. So it's a lighter moisturizer than a cream. I bought the bottle that is a smaller size. This comes in a variety of sizes, from travel size all the way to a bigger bottle, and I've regretted it. Not because necessarily I really wanted more of this lotion. It's a good lotion, but mostly because of the dispenser on this size. It is just a hole, and I don't understand why. I should have talked about that in my things that drive me nuts about KBeauty video, but I didn't think about it. But now that I think about it, this is one of those things that drives me nuts, is why not put a pump on it? Like, put a pump on it. This would be so much easier. So I had to shake this out, and I couldn't quite, there's a little bit left on the bottom. I couldn't quite get every last drop out, which annoys me because I'm frugal and I like to use up everything. The bigger size bottle of this comes with a pump. Regardless of the packaging though, this is a lovely, lovely product and non-toxic, whatever, 10 free, so it doesn't include 10 controversial ingredients that other products might include. So I'm all about that life. And if you have sensitive skin, acne prone skin, redness prone skin, or if you just want a good light emulsion that won't react with other things, that doesn't have any active ingredients in it, but it's just a good moisturizer, try this. It's nice. Maybe try a travel size, or if you're ready to commit, then get a bigger size so that you can get the pump. Another thing I finally finished is the Benton Goodbye Redness Centella gel. And it was a clear gel. It reminds me of an aloe gel, but it has extra beneficial ingredients in it, like Centella, which is an ingredient that is very commonly found in products for redness and for acne prone skin. I talked about this in my redness tips video before. It's basically a calming gel. I would put it on if I had any kind of redness or irritation. Doesn't even have to be from a breakout, just if I got windburned or anything of that nature. I would put that on after toner, let it kind of sink in and absorb at least a bit, and then put cream or moisturizer on. I've also used this as my gel for my new face. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's not a Korean product. It is a microcurrent little device that helps with muscle tone and with sagging and things of that nature. I am now getting back to using it. I wasn't using it when I was pregnant because it uses microcurrents, which is FDA not approved for use in pregnant women. I actually emailed the manufacturer to really make sure because I couldn't find anything on their site. But when NuFace is used, it has to have some kind of oil-free gel on the face, and I don't like the NuFace brand gel. I feel like it's very thick, it's very expensive, it's incredibly difficult to wash off afterwards, so I've been using different Korean aloe gels, and this was also a good one to use. It is now finally out. It is a wonderful product. Benton also makes sheet masks in the same line. I've had those before as well, and those are good. I like to keep something like that on hand in case I have a breakout or redness. I'm so fair that anything, if I look at my skin wrong, it just turns red. So stuff like this I like to keep around, and this was a good value and it lasted me a long time. It's finally out, so I'm ready to recycle the packaging. I have one makeup product that I used up. It was not part of my project pan at all because I didn't include any mascaras in my project pan. Mascaras is something that I use 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. So it's not something that's a struggle for me to finish at all. And this one is the Magic Pole mascara by Holika. I blanked that for a second. It's a tubing mascara, meaning it envelopes your lashes in like a polymer gel, and then it slides off with using just warm water, which is something I love. So it doesn't flake or smudge, and it doesn't give you raccoon eyes. You don't need any special remover for it. The brush is interesting. I think that's why it's called a magic pole. It's like has a ball on the bottom. And to me, that's kind of gimmicky. It didn't take away from my experience of using the mascara, but it's not my favorite type of wand. I would use the main part of it, the straight part, to apply the mascara, and then I would use the ball ending to catch any eyelashes that maybe were forgotten. But it was a good mascara. It's not my absolute favorite. My absolute favorite is still the Panda's Dream by Tony Moly, which for some reason is hard to find, and I ordered another tube of it, and it I think is lost in transit. It's been like 4 weeks and I still don't have it, and usually it only takes 2 weeks to get here, so I don't know what's happening with that. I'm using some other mascaras right now and trying some Japanese ones, but the Tony Moly Panda's Dream I think is still my favorite. I would definitely buy it again. I hope it's not discontinued. I don't understand why. There are just not too many listings of it, and I can't find it on bigger sites like Josie anymore either, and Soko Glam used to carry it and now they don't. I don't know, I'd be very sad if it's discontinued because I still haven't found a tubing mascara that I like as much as the Tony Moly one. But this one, I mean, I wasn't mad about it. It worked fine and I used it up, so it fulfilled its purpose. I already said I'm not going to go through individual sheet masks that I've used up, but I did save a few things here that came in sheet mask like packaging that I thought were interesting to talk about, and they were unusual. The first one is the Huangjisoo peeling pads. This is their Sakura edition. So Huangjisoo came out with 3 different pads. There's a Sugar No Rinse Pad. I already reviewed that one on my blog. There's a Mugwort Soothing Pad, and then there's this Sakura Peeling Pad. And again, they say peeling, but it is really a mild peeling, so it's okay for daily use. It's a toner pad. These ones were huge, size-wise. They were just as big as the Yadah ones, if not bigger. So it took up this whole envelope, and these were very nice. They smell good. I do have a full size of that as well that I'm using currently, and they're very mild, worked really well. Again, used them mostly in the morning. Used it up pretty quickly because there were only 10 of them. Take a look at those because they're vegan. They are all green certified EWG ingredients, good for sensitive skin, not too bad price wise, and a lot of the time right now on eBay you can find all 3 jars for like a one bundle price that lets you save a little bit. So I like when brands that I already follow and enjoy start releasing new products. Like Purito did that same thing. When I first started looking into them, they only had 3 things in their lineup, and now they have basically everything you need to do a full skincare routine. So I hope Huangjisoo does a similar thing. I hope as they get more well known that they start to add to their lineup, because I think we need more brands that do clean beauty things and vegan stuff. So I'm excited to see what comes with that. I have 2 scalp masks that I used, and these came in my Sophie box. These are also available on Face Story now, and I think some other websites. I'll put a link in the description box for anywhere that I found these. I'm using 2, no, I've used that one already, and I talked about that I think in my last Empties video, which was a charcoal one. And then I'm currently using the Tamanu oil one. I just started using that yesterday. The interesting things about these is they are made specifically for your scalp. So while I use any hair masks or treatments, usually starting from here to the bottom, because I have an oily scalp and I don't want to weigh my hair down anymore than it's already weighed down by the natural oils that I produce. These ones are made specifically to put on the scalp, and then they can be spread all the way down to the ends. Each baggie lasts me about 3 uses. The first time I used one, I thought it would only be 2 uses, and that was way too much product. So 3 uses is about where I am with these. This avocado one is really interesting. So it says avocado on it, and in tiny print down here it says with banana. It smells hardcore like bananas. Very, very, very banana smell. But I actually like that. And then this one was the hibiscus one, the moisturizing one. I liked both of these. I do think they make my hair super silky. They didn't make my hair go dirty any faster than it usually is, so they didn't weigh anything down. I do think that they help with like dry patches if you have any on your scalp. So it was interesting to use, and I would definitely use these again. I would get these again because it was interesting. I've never had a product, I don't think, that was specifically for the scalp, except for things like exfoliating scalp scrubs. But these were the first kind of treatment type products for the scalp, so they were interesting. Another hair thing I used, I talked about these before. This is by SNP, and that is a mask for the length of the hair, the split ends prevention. I do like that they say prevention, not treatment, because once your ends split, that's basically it. You have to get them cut. There's no mending them back. They're products that temporarily kind of glue them back together, but that's not a long-term solution. It comes with a little, like an envelope type plastic thing coated with the mask on the inside. So you stick your hair in it and leave it on for 10 minutes or so and then rinse off. And then there was a second part to this, which is a leave-in, like a serum type, almost like a hair oil thing that again I apply from here to the end. So I have a few more left of these. I completely forgot I had them. I found them under my sink in the master bathroom, which seems to be where things just go to die in my house. And I put them in my box of sheet masks and other masks that I need to be using, and so I've been working through using these. Next unusual thing is this Aprilskin Steam Eye Mask, and it is just a warming mask to relax your eyes. It's for anybody who is using technology a lot, who works on computers, basically anybody who has eye fatigue. It comes in a little envelope inside, and you unfold it, and when the air hits it, it starts this warming up process. So the mask self-heats, and it can be applied to the eyes, and it just warms everything and relaxes everything. It's very nice, and it's kind of a nice thing that almost forces me to just shut my eyes for 20 minutes or 10 minutes or however long I can do that and just try to turn my brain off. It is so hard to relax. Even when I take my nightly bath, I'm constantly thinking of the next thing I need to do. Sometimes I'll watch a YouTube video or two while I do it. I'm thinking about new ideas for the blog, new ideas for the channel, and it's just hard sometimes to just stop it. The thing with YouTube and blogging and any kind of hobby or employment that has to do with social media is your work just never stops. You know, at least for me, I'm constantly thinking of the next thing. I'm just constantly brainstorming something, and it's so important to take time off and just relax. And I really struggle with that. I'm trying to be better at just being a human being instead of being a human doing all the time. So this helps a little bit with that, and I thought it was interesting. This little thing, I talked about this in my how I lost 74 pounds without sagging skin video. You can find that on my channel. It was published fairly recently. I think it was maybe the first video of 2020. This is a Innisfree anti-aging mask for neck and collarbone. Typically when I use a sheet mask, if it feels still pretty wet and full of serum, I'll fold it in two and I'll put it on my neck. And that usually covers this space right here. Well, this one, the picture is misleading, right? This lady has a very long neck, first of all, and it looks like it stops right at the bottom of her neck. But for me, it actually covers all of this area and the neck. And I've talked about this on my Instagram before. But this was really awesome, and I would buy that again. I really liked it. It was very hydrating, and I think these areas... I hear Susan Yadah on Mixed Makeup channel say a lot how your skincare should extend all the way to your nipples. And I think products like this kind of help. You know, we shouldn't forget the skin right here. And if you look at some older people who maybe were neglecting some protection and neglecting caring for this area, you can really see their age on this area more so than on the face. This is the area that gets sun damage, that gets wrinkles. So it's important to do what you do to your face and to your neck, to the chest area as well, and this helps with that. So initially I thought it was kind of gimmicky, but after using it, I really like it, and I would buy this again. I can't believe it. I think we made it through all of my empties for January. I don't know what I'll have in February. It might be just as many, but probably not. Probably fewer, and maybe I'll combine March and February videos in one, depending on how much I have to talk about. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to recycle your packaging. If you have empties, just look for this symbol like that. Of course, it's always good to reduce our consumption and not buy the things in the first place, but if you bought the thing and you used it, recycle it properly if the facilities exist where you are. Thank you very much for watching. Visit my Instagram at KBeautyHobbit and visit my blog, KBeautyHobbit.com. I also have a Facebook group, Korean Beauty Fanatics, where you can ask questions and share your own reviews. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I'll see you next Saturday. And until then, please remember to always listen to your skin. Thank you very much. Bye.